Hello? Hello? Please, I know you can hear us. We are trapped here in the spaces between worlds. It is a wonderful yet terrifying place, and only our voices escape. You can help us. You can let us in before we go mad.
The Battles of Bellum, Part 2. A Crash is Still a Landing. Alarm bells crooned their obnoxious song. Gator forced his quaking arms to grip the sides of the opening cryopod. He looked for his fellow Astromachus. The cold sleep chamber was empty and all the other pods were already open. Bellum glanced at the monitor next to his pod. The readout flashed red, marking a malfunction in the latches. Gator thanked his luck and cursed his fellows in the same breath. All they had to do was crack the seal. Bah, no time to gripe. I need a weapon. Gator stumbled through a shaking and progressively canting ship. He found his locker, grabbed his varial rifle, and headed for the bridge. The laser fire had damaged the gravity flooring, and everything felt tilted. He pressed a palm on the side of the hallway and ran as quickly as his frozen legs would carry him. A pitter-patter of inhuman feet echoed down the hall. He stopped in his tracks. Intruders, thought Gator. He shouldered his rifle. A violet millipede-looking creature skittered around the corner and reared up like a cobra ready to strike. It drew 2 small pistols from holsters strapped around its midsection. Gator shot without aiming. 3 holes appeared in the creature. Translucent green ooze splattered the wall. The rounds pinged as they ricocheted through the claustrophobic hall. One of them bounced straight back and planted itself in Gator's thigh. Fortunately, it had lost most of its velocity, and the round didn't penetrate very far through his skin. Gator continued at a more cautious speed. The gravity finally failed completely. Bellum's feet left the floor. Should have grabbed some mag boots, he grumbled as he gripped one of the rails with his left hand. Gator propelled himself through the corridor until he came to a sealed door. A slight discoloration at the edge of the door suggested that someone had welded it shut. Damn it, he said under his breath. Bellum called up his mental map of the ship and judged the best alternate route. I'll have to backtrack and go through the mess hall. Hopefully there won't be another sealed door blocking my way. Gator floated toward the cafeteria. He heard a low hum and chittering coming from inside. He slowly pulled himself around the corner for a peek. 3 aliens of different species drifted around the room, amusing themselves by ripping open ration packs, trying to eat the contents, and then bursting into a mixture of chittering, humming, and squelching, and occasionally regurgitation of the consumed foodstuff. Bellum recognized one that the Astromachus colloquially referred to as rat bastards. Oily, matted white fur covered most of its body, but pink patches of gnarled scar tissue peeked out from under its hide. Gator couldn't help but notice with disgust that it was female. Beady red eyes peered over a pointed snout. 2 sharp, elongated teeth jutted from the sides of her mouth. Long, triple-jointed arms and legs sprouted out of the squat, pot-bellied rat bastard. She was armed to the teeth with a pair of differing rifles, a pistol, a saber, and 2 crisscrossing bandoliers. 2 single-eyed heads on long necks were the defining attributes of the second creature. Its heads even seemed to bicker and snap at each other with protruding lower jaws. The jaws lacked teeth, but in their stead were rows of curved blades. Raised heptagonal scales of tan-hued keratin covered its skin. It had 4 hooves and 2 dexterous 7-fingered hands. The last being was a spiky affair. Gator couldn't make heads nor tails of the thing. It looked more like a shifting ball of ferrofluid than a creature. Appendages flowed like liquid, lengthening into tentacles and retracting back into spines. Numerous colors pulsated up and down the spikes. The closest Tellan thing Gator could draw resemblance to was a sea urchin, but it was a poor comparison given the bizarre appearance of the creature. Gator poked his varial rifle around the corner and swiftly assessed which alien to target first. The urchin thing frightened him the most. He could see that the others were packing firepower, but he had no idea what that fluidic being was capable of. He took aim at its iridescent center and pulled the trigger. The recoil pushed him slowly backward. The colors spasmed like a festive display as the urchin separated into multiple parts. The rat bastard drew her sidearm fast as a gunslinger. An unseen energy carved a gouge through Gator's forearm. The 2-headed monstrosity struggled to pull its rifle free from off its back. Its heads bashed against each other vindictively. Gator pulled himself back around the cover of the corner. Sparks erupted from the wall behind where he had just been. The invisible beam charred a path across the metal. Whistling projectiles soared harmlessly past his position. Gator gauged an angle and sprayed bullets at the wall. He heard them bouncing around the mess hall. One of the aliens shrieked. Gator let loose one more burst before rounding the corner to finish off the invaders. Globules of purple blood floated from one of the heads of the 2-headed creature. Its other head was gently prodding at its dead one. It seemed to be in a near catatonic state of either denial or mourning. Gator ended its misery with a quick shot to the eye. He turned to target the rat bastard when a shot put a hole straight through his varial rifle. Somehow the laser missed his flesh. Instinctually, Gator drew his knife. His eyes found the rat bastard. The creature returned his gaze. The corners of her mouth curled into a sickly grin. She tossed the pistol away, shrugged the rifles off her back, and unsheathed the sword. Bellum felt a pang of fear. I should have shot her first. The rat bastard pushed off the wall and bounded toward Gator, saber point forward. Gator brandished his knife defensively, as if to parry the blow. At the last moment, his brain finally decided to fire a neuron. He kicked himself to the side. The rat bastard crashed into the corridor. Gator chucked his knife. It cruised straight into the thing's neck, severing its spine. Bellum grabbed the railing and sighed in relief. He floated back to the rat bastard and pulled the knife free. Blood sputtered out of the wound and collided with Gator's face, clinging stubbornly to his cheek. He recoiled in disgust as he wiped and flicked gyrating bubbles of the fluid into the air. Good thing I'm up to date on my shots, he thought before returning to his goal of getting to the helm. He moved through the mess hall into the adjoining kitchen. This door had not been welded shut. Bellum listened for sound, and finding none, he moved toward the helm. The hall was free of enemies and obstacles. Finally, Gator reached the bridge. He found the helm a mess of severed body parts and burnt flesh. The pilot was plastered to the walls like some kind of grotesque decoration. They had suffered the full blast of ship-to-ship laser armaments. Only shield emitters held the vacuum of space at bay. Remarkably, the ship's main systems were still undamaged. Gator slid into the captain's chair and slammed a headset on without thinking and without training. He was an astromachai after all. A needle dove into his skull. His consciousness left his body. Gator became one with the ship. He felt metal skin, electrical nerves. Every living thing on the ship ran like blood through synthetic arteries. He saw stars, felt the emptiness around him and the gravity of the planet below, dragging him downward. And he felt pain. The hull ruptures radiated agony through his senses. Reflexively, he pointed the nose of the ship toward the planet. The heat rose. It felt like his own skin blistered from the atmospheric pressure. A laser caught him in the ribs, or rather the midsection of the ship. Gator screamed as he pushed the ship further to the surface. The ground rose to greet him. His shriek grew. It felt as though there were no separation between vehicle and man. Gator acted according to perceived survival. He aimed the nose of the ship up and coasted to a rough but stable landing. All Bellum wanted to do was take off that infernal headset. His body felt as if it were full of holes, burnt to a crisp and skinned alive. He wanted relief from the pain and suffering of the ship, but pain was nothing compared to the uncertain oblivion of death. Several hostile ships entered the atmosphere. Gator could feel them. He saw them. He smelt their foul stench. He fired every functioning gun on the ship. Flak rounds burst into black smoke.
2 bogies down.
Missiles locked onto their target. Point defense lasers from the enemy craft obliterated a few into bursts of bright orange inferno. The rest found home and metal fragments sprinkled the planet.
3 left. Out of missiles. Can't take a chance. Need to target them manually.
Gator's head spun as his vision split into 6 different images. Reticles marked the center of each. He fired. Concussions followed the enemy. He shot another cannon simultaneously. He focused his thoughts into 2 guns. Relief washed over his taxed mind, but it still felt bifurcated. He moved both reticles to lead the ships. Shrapnel shredded them to husks. The last one went kamikaze. Bellum aimed. Nothing happened. This gun was out. He switched to another. It was too late. The craft dove straight toward the helm. Gator disengaged the shield emitters and tore the headset out of his brain. He dove down into a laser-dug chasm. The hostile ship crashed into the bridge. It exploded into a ball of flames. Wreckage crashed around Gator. He slipped under a bulkhead. The vessel caved in around him. Somehow, all he suffered was a few bruises, lacerations, and contusions. He paid it no mind. All Bellum cared about was his crippling headache.